Welcome to Films and Stuff with your hosts, Pete Mitchell and Ethan Hunt.
Pete, Films and Stuff, how are you today?
I am pumped. I'm excited to discuss what we're about to start discussing.
Tell us what we're about to start discussing.
We are going to discuss quite possibly the most controversial show in the Star Wars universe, Andor.
Is it really the most controversial?
It's hilarious. I say controversial, but honestly, the number of people I have heard talking about how they didn't like the show, how they didn't think that it was good, it's blowing my mind.
Who?
It has blown my mind. I will just call them Mr. X and Mr. Y.
For their own protection.
That's right, because I think Ethan will go and beat them up otherwise.
I will not, but I will have words. I'm just really surprised.
Right?
I'm really surprised that there is a Star Wars fan who is not... I can understand someone who doesn't think that Andor is amazing, but for me, Andor is very safe because it's not really damaging anything, right? It's not taking any iconic character and diminishing them. It's not taking any specific event and altering it. So I wouldn't be surprised unless someone finds it a little bit boring or inconsequential. I'd be really surprised to learn that anyone had strong negative feelings towards it.
The ones who aren't happy with it because it seems to be a show about nothing, and it seems to be going at a snail's pace.
Can I change that? Could you also say, and this is a criticism I have of not the show as an entertainment medium, but as a story. It doesn't make the rebels as likable as we thought that they were.
Oh, absolutely not.
Is that the issue?
That is... Yes, I think that could be it. Because when we first see the rebels in episode 4... they are not just the underdogs, they're the lovable underdogs that everyone wants to see succeed.
Right. And now we find out that everything about them is...
Every major rebel player we've seen so far, or the progenitors to the rebels, they're all a bit douchey.
They are a bit douchey. In fact... For me, arguably the most likable person, maybe not likable, but sympathetic, is Cyril Karn.
Kinda. Yeah. I mean, on a surface level, we as viewers, as Star Wars fans, he is designed for us to not like him because automatically he's in opposition.
Yeah.
But I think if you really dig down to his motivations, and if you really dig down and look at him on a character level, he's the one who kind of got screwed by everyone.
I'd say that if almost any of us, no matter who you are, could probably identify with him, who's been unfairly blamed for just doing their job to the best of their ability, has been put in an unwinnable situation, and has just dedicated themselves to clearing their name and doing what they believe is right. I think Cyril, yes, he is absolutely a little bit douchey, but for me, he comes across as the most relatable and sympathetic character in this entire series.
And I think that in any other show that wasn't around Star Wars, he'd be the guy everyone was rooting for, right? He's the guy who's been wronged.
I agree.
He's the guy who's trying to clear his name, so much so that he's ready to go out and do things on his own to do it. Yeah. That's got the makings of a hero.
Yeah.
Anyway, so before we get ahead of ourselves, let's talk about the 12th and final episode of Andor, and then let's talk about the show overall. What did you think of episode 12? So episode 12 was all about Marva's funeral.
I mean, it really, for me, this was a show about Ferrex, right? We're back on Ferrex. Ferrex is absolutely, in the
tinderbox.
Yeah, it's a tinderbox. And there's one nice thing that I think we've all come to appreciate about Ferrex, which is the sense of community. When that dude pounds on the anvil, everybody is out. Everybody knows that they're going to be beat up, if not worse. They are really, really a tightly knit community. And it almost makes me wonder why they're so keen to destroy the fabric that they've obviously worked so hard to create and that they value so much, right? They don't really have a beef, for example. Marwa wasn't killed. She died kind of natural causes, right? They don't actually have a beef.
No, so here's the thing, right? I think that the Empire has kind of put its proverbial boot on everybody's neck.
Yeah.
In Ferrix. And the way they had done that previously was by saying, hey, it's not going to be a stormtrooper's boot on your back. What we're going to do is we're going to outsource our policing to this third party company, which is where we first meet Cyril, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's only because of Cyril's mess up in that first 3 episodes that the Empire's like, well, now we have to go in there because you guys fudged it all up. And because of you guys, we're going to get in there. So the Empire was always seen as like this looming bad guy, but I think Ferrix was kind of in a situation where like, yeah, they're the looming bad guy, but there's 1 degree of separation from them.
Yeah.
After that, they kind of come in there and they're kind of, this oppressive force that's very ham-fisted. They don't do anything with any subtlety. Moreover, they're also not any of the people from that area. Everyone has been imported from the Empire.
Yeah.
So they don't understand the cultures. They don't understand the thing. And we saw a little bit of this also in Aldhani, right? Mm-hmm. Where they make a point to say, look, we're not from here. The locals come here once every, 12 years or 15 years to see the eye.
Mm-hmm.
They don't understand the culture. They don't understand the customs. And it's because they are going to places where not only are they not welcome, but that they're not from originally.
Yeah.
So I think what's happened in Ferrix is that you're right in the sense that they haven't done anything direct, but they've kind of been an oppressive force on all of these guys for so long now that's what I say when I say it's a tinderbox, is at some point you're going to feel the weight and the pressure gets too much and someone's going to snap. And Marva, who is 100% a daughter of Ferrix, a local community legend and leader, she's like That's a right. beloved character, right? It would be the equivalent of, your town shaman, or not shaman, but, like mayor or someone who finally succumbs to death knowing that I'm dying under an oppressive regime. I wish I could change that, but I'm too old and I've died now. And I think that's what kind of snaps everyone out of their reverie.
Mm.
And don't forget, they also captured Bix. They also captured all these other people. And they're not just capturing them and jailing them. They're physically torturing.
Do you think Deidre is responsible for this? Because she's the person that, in her zest to lure Cassian back, said, go ahead, grant their application for a funeral. Go ahead. You want to increase it to 30 to 40 people? Go ahead. She kind of like brought this on herself. It was intended to be a trap, but she brought this on herself. If she would have just denied it, I mean, they put up then this image of her speaking. I was really shocked that like they didn't have a sharpshooter or a sniper who just took out that little red robot and said, you're not giving any speeches. They let that speech go for far too long.
You know what my very first note on my Google Docs is?
Yeah.
Andor finale. Failings of the Empire.
It is.
Too much leeway on the funeral.
Yes.
40 people allowed. But first of all, say 40 people allowed, but it was obviously way more than 40 people, right?
Yes.
We're talking like in the hundreds were on the street.
Yes.
2, no kind of security check before the funeral? What, people's are with bags are walking unchecked around?
Yeah.
Like you don't even have metal detectors anywhere?
I agree.
3, they allowed Marva's speech to go on at least 5 lines too long.
Yes.
And I theoretically agree with you. They didn't even need to do anything with Marva's speech, right? 4, I get that this is high-tech technology that we're never going to understand, but what? Your grenades are so unstable that when they're tipped over out of a box, the whole thing goes up? 5, headbutts.
Oh, man.
A trooper who wears the helmet can get headbutted by a guy with his normal forehead and he gets taken out? What are these helmets made of? Paper mache?
I was going to say, when I saw that, I was thinking, have you ever hit anything with your head? Have you ever seen in a movie, except for a movie, have you ever seen the headbutt actually used? It's nonsense.
And to think that you would do that against a full-faced helmet and win? I was just like, okay, well, clearly it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So these are the little 5-6 points that I was just like, what are they do? Like, if I were the Empire, all of these are the most basic of basic things that we have today.
Yeah.
You can't go anywhere today without facing these repercussions in the real world. You're telling me they couldn't have done this in Star Wars?
I agree. I thought the whole thing about the permit was just crazy, which is, first of all, Cassian's an idiot, lovable, but he's an idiot for going back to Ferrix anyway. But secondly, to grant a permit and think that Cassian's just waiting, like, hey, did they grant the permit? Oh, then I'll go. He's either there or he's not, right? You don't really need to grant the permit. But I agree with you that there should have been blockades. There should have been it was just so poorly administered. They had so few staff on hand.
No snipers allowed because I want to take him alive. What a ridiculous thing. Still have the snipers. Order them not to shoot.
I agree.
It's a bit silly. It just got a bit nonsensical. Yeah. And I think to the point where your point is very much valid, these are all things I would not expect someone as conniving and smart as Deidre to... These are mistakes that she has made that she would otherwise not have made.
Yeah.
And I think this is something we see a lot in the Star Wars universe in general, is that the people in the Empire are so singularly focused and driven to succeed. Mm-hmm. They have, horse blinders on.
Tunnel vision.
And they get tunnel vision and they focus so intently that they forget about the most basic of things around them. You're so focused on the wrong thing, or maybe not the wrong thing, you're so focused on your objective that you forget about the other things that can happen that would destroy your mission.
So apart from that, though, were you happy with the finale, right? A finale is usually either meant to, right, there's a big reveal at the end, or a big decision, or a big unknown or uncertainty. Here it was essentially the decision, right, between Luthen and Cassian.
I loved it. I thought this was so good, and I think the payoff was totally worth it.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to happen earlier, but I'm kind of glad. And again, this is, I think, instinctually I would want this to move at a faster pace. But I'm glad that they took 12 episodes to get to where they are. That final scene we see in Luthen's ship, where we understand that Luthen, and we're told, actually, we don't even need to understand, we're told that Luthen is there to kill Cassian Andor. Mm-hmm. And when Luthen gets surprised by Cassian on his ship, and Cassian says, "You either kill me or you take me in." At first, my stupid monkey brain was like, take me in. Oh my God, is he telling Luthen to turn him into the Empire? And then I was like, no, wait, that's stupid. Of course he wouldn't do that. He's telling Luthen to take him into the Rebels. And I thought that was great. I thought that payoff was totally worth it, because we finally see the transition from Cassian Andor, the self-centered jerk that we saw at the beginning of episode 1, over 12 episodes, and they were long episodes, let's not kid ourselves, to Cassian Andor. I'm in it to win it now.
I thought that was also very realistic. Whenever you see a turn, and Star Wars has a number of them that we can debate, but whenever you see a turn, for me, it has to be realistic. changing your mentality, changing your allegiances is a really, really dramatic and rare thing. And I thought that the way that Cassian came to the rebels was very, very realistic. I don't like the fact that he went back to Ferrex, but that's neither here nor there. But how he actually decided to embrace or be embraced by the rebels, I thought that was very realistic, and that was pleasing to me.
You're right. These quick turns, or not turns, but I guess these like...
Yeah. I mean, this took 12 episodes. This took 12 episodes.
Yeah.
It started as, hey, I just want to sell this thing, to I escaped from the Empire who improperly imprisoned me, and I see how repressive they are, to my mom taught me that I need to stand up for what's right, to finally saying, hey, I want to be a part of this. I thought that migration was very, very realistic.
Yeah, and that scene in the ship as they're escaping, not Luthen's ship, but in the junkyard ship, where Bix was, where, he leaves his droid, where he leaves B2, where he leaves Bix, and even Bix, in her stupor, agrees he'll find us. And he's like, I will come get you. I will come find you.
Yeah.
In episode 1, if he said that, I would have said, oh, he's lying just to get out of the situation. But in episode 12, when he says that, you're just like, yeah, I believe him. I now believe him.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a slow but incredibly wonderful turn of Andor, right? I think, rightly or wrongly, but I keep making this analogy, but you know how the beautiful thing about Breaking Bad was we see Bryan Cranston's turn from mild-mannered chemistry teacher in high school to a drug kingpin criminal over the course of however many episodes it takes or seasons it takes. It's one of the things that we really cherish about that show.
Yeah.
The same thing I think can be said for Andor.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, we both have the same point, which is any dramatic shift in a person's allegiances or loyalties needs to be realistic. And realistically, those things do not happen overnight.
Yeah.
Even Mon Mothma, I have to say, Mon Mothma is a very good example of also in this episode of someone who I'm not sure if she's not really like involved in the rebels anymore, but we understand that she still has that allegiance. But we see the desperation that she has to try to avoid her own like audit problems. And she does what we knew that she was going to do last episode. She offers up her daughter, right?
Yeah. But so this is the interesting thing, right? And this is where I think the show is so subtle and so good. So when we first meet Mothma and Luthen, right, where they go into Luthen's store and that's his cover, she indicates to Luthen that she's got a new driver. She doesn't trust him. And they kind of do that subterfuge. Let me show you in the back. And he uses the shop assistant to kind of distract the driver, right?
Yes.
So, but she's not sure that she's under surveillance or not.
Yeah.
Something that we now get clarity on.
Yeah.
So you know how when she gets in the back of the car, she says privacy screen, and then she starts railing against her husband about the gambling.
Yeah. Do you think it was intentional?
That's the question I had for you. That's exactly the question is she savvy enough that she knows that she's being listened to? And so to throw the Empire off the scent about her dodgy banking details, she then says, hey, you jerk, you're doing all this gambling. And he's like, where would I even get the money? And she's like, that's what worries me the most.
I think you're right. I think you're right because when I first watched it, I'm a man. And I'm like, man, she is really being tough on her husband. Up until this scene, she always had like this negative thing against her husband. But we didn't see him do anything wrong. Ever, 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 right?
Kind of. Just one thing that definitely was wrong.
What did he do wrong?
He used his daughter against his mother in the first episode.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's...
Look, what I'm saying is it's not... It was manipulative.
You're right. It was manipulative.
Right. And good or bad, I'm not going to comment. I'm just saying that
But we didn't really see him being
viewers.
She had this thing against her husband. We didn't see him being like a philanderer, a partier, like someone who was, we actually didn't see anything, right? She was just kind of like tough on him. She was even kind of against like the institution of their cultural arrangement and everything. Yeah. And then in this first scene, or in this scene in the car, I was like, man, like, why are you beating on the poor guy? He said he wasn't gambling. Like, why are you still like after him, you know? And then I thought about it and I came to the same conclusion that you came to, which was, I think she was just throwing him under the bus. So to make the point so that she thought that her driver was listening, because he seemed to be like very genuine about it. And I have to say, that hurt me about Mothma a little bit. Because Mon Mothma is supposed to be a pillar of the rebels. She's supposed to be, you know, like a guiding force, a leader, right? And now we see how fucked up her family is.
So I think this is it's really interesting you say that, because I agree with you in the sense that we have always thought of Mon Mothma as like the strongest, most secure, most pure pillar, right?
Right.
And let's not kid ourselves. It's not like any of us really knew Mon Mothma from the movies.
No, we didn't know anything.
She played a very minimal role in any of them, right? We just saw her around the table with Leia, etc. in episode 4, 5, and whatever it was. But the point was that we always assumed it. And every time we see her, she was bathed in a white light. She almost looked like a holier-than-thou figure in any of the movies.
Yes.
Right? This season really shows you, A, her life isn't perfect. B, she will do whatever it takes to get, because she really believes that the Empire is bad.
Is that right?
I think so, because she throws her husband under the bus.
Yes.
Because we've never really seen her be super savvy in this series until now. So there's two things. One, I think she knows she's under surveillance, or I think she's confirmed that she's under surveillance. So she throws the Empire off, because we learned that Blevin is looking into her, and he knows that her bank accounts are dodgy already.
Yep.
So she's able to throw her husband under the bus and blame him for this. One. Two, that last scene, we also see that she introduces the gangster's son to her daughter.
Yep.
Something that she did not want to do, but she acquiesces because she's like, this is the only way to get me, my family, but definitely me, out of this situation. Say what you will. That costs something to her. It's not about money. This is like, now I am sacrificing my family's well-being to do this. And that's how strongly I believe in the rebellion.
So I agree with you. When I said, is that right? I agree with you that she has sacrificed all the people around her. The husband, I think, she's just kind of like beat him down a little bit. He really hasn't seemed to be done anything wrong. The daughter, I didn't seem to think was so unhappy with this arranged marriage. I understood that she was a little bit devout and maybe okay with it. Her expression didn't really give anything away.
Yeah.
But I have to say, from the perspective of Mothma, it's fiction, but I'm a little bit disappointed. I mean, there's something admirable about being so loyal to a cause, but this is a moral question which we're not going to solve, but is it right for someone to say, well, for the good of this political thing I believe in, I'm just going to beat down my husband and screw over my daughter and maybe even sacrifice cousin Val, or it's her sister Val?
Her sister.
Right? Like, I'm just going to throw it all away because I believe in this so strongly. Is that right? And that's the point I think we make about this show, which is great show. Do we like the characters? Like,
their motivations?
Yeah. Do I like Mon Mothma anymore?
So I still do, but I'm with you in the sense that what's happened, what this show has done that I think most people may not like is that it's muddied the water on the people that we've inherently liked.
Yeah.
Cassian, we liked him in Rogue One.
Yeah.
He tells us he has done some nasty things.
Yeah.
But we still liked him. By the end of that first or second episode of this show, you're just like, ugh. Get this guy off of screen. He's a jerkbag. He doesn't care who he hurts. He's a selfish, arrogant prick. Yeah. That's what I like about the show is they're saying, hey, look, no one is perfect. And you and I have joked about Luke, for example, right? He was a snotty 16-year-old punk or 19-year-old kid. We didn't like him. He was like this, whiny kid.
Entitled,
yeah, right? And I guarantee you that if we saw more of Luke, the more we would feel that way about him in this kind of show.
I mean, that's true. I guess when I think of Luthen, for example, was it this episode or episode 11? Yes, cutthroat. But that also, to be honest, part of being a leader is showing loyalty to your people, right? And it seems Luthen may say, hey, I'm willing to sacrifice 50 people for the greater cause. And maybe in a vacuum that makes sense. But if I'm Cassian, and Cassian obviously doesn't feel this way, or if I'm Saw, and Saw maybe doesn't feel this way, am I willing to follow Luthen after I've seen how easily he dismisses people that have given him loyalty? I would say no. Because whenever it suits Luthen, I'm going to be the sacrificial lamb.
So I think that's true for you and me, the rational human beings.
Yeah.
I don't think that's true for people who are so desperate to break out of the Empire's foot. So for me, what happens with Ferrix, basically, when the tinderbox goes up, I think this is the signal flare to every rebel group out there that if the Empire can do this on Ferrix, right? Because we don't see the aftermath exactly, right? But we, as viewers, know hundreds of people were killed by the Empire during a funeral.
Yeah.
All of the rebel fleet out there, all the different disparate groups are going to be like, well, if that could happen on Ferrix, that could happen on our planet. We have to work together to beat the Empire. That's the only way it's going to happen. This episode was basically the inciting event.
It was the inciting event, yeah.
That unites the entire rebel alliance to actually become a rebel alliance.
Back to your point, how bad Deidre is. She created this. She created the inciting event herself, right? I mean, in her desperation, in her desperation to get, first of all, you missed a point on your 6. The Empire actually had Cassian in jail, and somehow their bloody IT system that can track components, right? Small technical components across different galaxies couldn't track a prisoner? You had the guy. 1. 2, Deidre, in her just desperation to capture Access, who, as we see now, is nothing but one dude, right? Who doesn't have really anything around him, including Cassian wouldn't have been loyal to him without this. She created this inciting event herself. This is a manufactured, riot, if that's what it is, that could have absolutely been protected.
This is why Deidre is so much like Cyril.
Yeah.
In the first 3 episodes, we see Cyril so desperate to capture Cassian that he basically causes the downfall for his corpo security group, and the Empire steps in. This is exactly what Deidre has done, but on a much bigger scale.
Absolutely right.
Let's talk about the season overall, right? So for the season overall, I think this is a phenomenal way of showing the turn. It's a great way to see Andor accept his fate. He's now in it to win it.
Yes.
He's not the type to run away anymore. That may be his instinct, but I think he's fought that instinct and fought those urges. Even when he thought he got away, the Empire arrested him under false pretenses.
Yep.
There's no escaping their corruption, and I think he gets it.
Yeah.
Kill me or take me in.
Yeah.
What a clean and simple and wonderful line, and you just know that he's going to do whatever he needs to do to ensure that he can get the mission done. I just thought it was wonderful. Can I say, one of the comments I made was that for me, this season was also basically a season of excellent speeches and monologues.
Yeah, I agree.
The one thing I think Lucasfilms and Disney Plus is getting right is the monologues.
Yeah.
Kino Loy with Andy Serkis, his prison breakout speech, phenomenal. Luthen Rail, when we learned that, when he's talking to the mole and his speech, phenomenal. Marva, Fiona Shaw's speech at her funeral, excellent, excellent, excellent monologues that make you really believe in these characters and their motivations.
I think you're right. Okay, so looking forward to season 2, what do you want to see? What do you expect to see?
I did a little bit of digging. I did a little bit of research. We are going to see that the next 12 episodes take place over the next 4 years or the next 5 years.
Well, some time jumps.
The understanding I have is that every 3 episodes will represent a year.
Okay.
And then, so episodes 1 through 3 will be 4 years before the Battle of Yavin.
Okay.
4 through 6 will be 3 years, blah, blah, blah. And I read the director said that the last episode, episode 12, takes place 3 or 4 days before the first scene in Rogue One.
What's the first scene in Rogue One where we see Cassian?
Where he's running through the streets and he kills the informant.
Yeah. That's cool.
I'm expecting season 2 to be a little bit more action-packed because I think that each year there will be an objective. So every 3 episodes there will be like an objective that he has to achieve for the rebels. Whatever that is. Similar to what we saw with Aldhani, right? Aldhani was over 3 episodes. Planning for the heist, the setup for the heist, and then the heist itself. I imagine that's what we're going to see more of in episodes 1 through 12.
And I feel like also we're going to have more, like right now we have so many multiple storylines, but everyone is a little bit independent. Yes. It seems like in season 2, we're going to start to get everyone in the same, if not in the same location, aligned on the same mission, right? So I expect Mon Mothma is going to make a career change or at least start to spend more time speaking to people, right?
On the Rebel side, I think we see the unification of the Rebels with Saw Gerrera.
Yeah.
And with all the disparate groups. On the Senator side, I think this is where we learn and where we see Jimmy Smits, Senator Organa, Leia's adopted dad.
Yeah.
I think we see him get introduced. I imagine one of the first few missions we see is going to be how he gets the K2SO droid.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because we see that in the movies, and he's been with him for a while. Yeah. So it has to be in this next couple of episodes. He has to get him.
Let me give you a list of people, and you tell me if you think any of these people are going to be ripe to die or to have an expanded role.
Okay.
Clea, his assistant at the antiquity shop.
Oh, expanded role.
Vel.
Expanded role.
I think Vel dies, and that is what propels Mon Mothma to take a more public role. Because we don't see Vel. I don't know of Vel like anything else, right? And Vel is always a little bit softer, like Kaz, right? Cinta. She's hardcore, right? Vel's always been a little bit. In it. Yeah. So I feel like,
or maybe even both of them die on that same mission, right?
Yeah.
And where Cinta takes a bullet or something, and then that propels Vel, who's really, she's in it for the rebellion, but I think she's also 50% in it for Cinta.
Yeah.
Whereas I think Cinta is like 90% rebellion, 10% Vel.
It's like the dude who goes to a protest because his girlfriend is going, right?
Exactly.
I'm totally into this.
And I'm not saying she isn't. I'm just saying that I think she's more about the relationship than Cinta is.
Yep.
And I think Cinta goes down, Vel goes hardline, Vel goes down.
Yeah.
And that's when Mothma goes, all right, I'm taking off my robes. That's right. We're going hardcore against the Empire.
What about Bix?
definitely an expanded role.
Yeah. Deidre and Cyril, I guess, are going to work together, and they're going to be the new dynamic duo.
Did you for a moment thought like they were going to make out?
I thought they're absolutely going to kiss. But I thought she played that very, very well, given her demeanor, which was she like absolutely recognized that she was in danger of, I don't know, being beaten to death, and that he saved her. I thought that was a very, very well realistically acted scene where she's like,
I want to kiss you, but this wouldn't be right. Yeah. I just felt like that was going to, like the schlocky Disney thing would have been for them to make out. I'm glad they didn't, but it certainly looked like they wanted to.
Yeah. And Luthen, do you think Luthen's going to make it or Luthen's going to die?
He's going to be an expanded role, of course, but I don't think he's going to make it.
Did you have an issue, looking back on episode 11, because we didn't discuss it specifically? Do you remember episode 11 when he was leaving whichever planet? I think maybe when he was talking to Saw, and his ship was...
That was the best Star Wars moment in the entire series.
Is that true?
That was the most Star Warsian moment in the 12 episodes we've seen.
Did you like it? Like, realistically, you think that's possible to get away from the tractor beam and the way that he did it?
Realism be damned.
Yeah.
It made me feel like a 6-year-old watching Star Wars for the first time.
Yeah.
Or a 10-year-old or whatever it was. It really made me feel like I was watching a Star Wars movie for the first time. And I loved every minute of it. Absolutely loved. He deploys the mines, destroys the tractor beam. And then he unfurls the lasers and does the twirly thing and destroys the 2 TIE fighters. Yeah. I mean, by the way, this is also all a failing of the Empire. Yeah. Why are the TIE fighters 800 kilometers away and then flying in when they just left the ship? But all of that aside, I loved it. Yeah. Like the child in me went absolutely bonkers.
If I had creative control over the scene, I would have changed it. Because I felt the same thing. Like, come on, this is one ship. It did not seem to be obviously it wasn't even outwardly like a warship. There were 2 TIE fighters, a much larger Imperial ship that could use a tractor beam. I thought the whole thing was not really realistic. I would have preferred that they said, hey, kind of pull over. We're going to, use a tractor beam if you don't. Then he kind of would have like deployed the countermeasures to destroy the tractor beam in advance, and then he took off before the TIE fighters could get there. But I thought this thing, like, one dude with like this little like camera, and like he took down 2 TIE fighters. Come on, like,
you know what I actually anticipated? What I actually anticipated was they were going to board him, and this was just going to be a moment of incredible stress and tension.
I thought the same thing, though.
And that would have also been really good, because that would have been another great way of highlighting how good a spy and deceptor Luthen is.
Yeah.
Or if you really want to subvert expectations, he gets captured.
Yeah.
And that sets up season 2.
Yeah. And now you've got
also been interesting.
Oh, either one of those, I would have. I think you're right. The second time, I think that capturing him would have been amazing, and then it doesn't give the same closure for the Cassian.
No, but then what it does is it allows Vel and Cinta to go after him to say, we need your help to get our boss out.
That's absolutely right. And Luthen's like, you should have killed this guy. And they're like, hey, you should be grateful he helped get you out.
Exactly. And that would have been good too, but I like this ending better because you need to have him be a part of the Rebel Alliance by the end of this season. You can't have it lingering for the second season.
But you know what? This is not either or. Maybe that's a mistake, because why did we need that scene? That scene could have been at the beginning, the first scene of season 2, episode 1.
It could have.
Right? And then your number one mission of Andor is Vel and Kaz go with Andor, and they've got to break out Luthen.
That's true. I think that would have been great. I'll modify that by saying, what if that happened in episode 9, and then the 10, 11, 12 was about him breaking out? Right. Because I imagine we're going to open season 2 a year later already. Yes. Cassian's in it. He's, he's battle hardened with the rebels now. And I like the idea that we don't need to see every minute of him joining the rebels. I like the idea that when we see him next, he's now a captain in the Rebel Alliance or a lieutenant or whatever he is going to be, and we see him actually working.
I agree, but you know, when when you talk about this is the type of stuff which is true, which is you've got a great scene. It may not have been in the right place. It would have been great to see him captured. But I like the idea that he deployed these countermeasures. But when he kind of like outmaneuvered the 2 TIE fighters and he like he shot at least one of them down, I was kind of like, no way. Come on. Like, how inept. I know stormtroopers cannot possibly shoot anything, but how is
they were really good on Ferrix. They were knocking people
very good on Ferrix.
Off left, right, and center.
Which makes it so crazy that in every other Star Wars movie, they're just like shooting all over the place and not hitting anything, right?
Yeah.
When is season 2 starting? Do we have any idea when season 2 is going to begin? Is it another?
They just started filming.
So we're looking
literally this last week.
So we're looking like end of 2023.
Yeah, probably end of next year. Did you see the post-credit scene?
Yes, I loved it.
I loved it. First of all, excellent throwback. We finally learned what those prisoners were making.
Yes, I was thinking the exact same thing. I'm like, I know what that part is. That's so cool.
Yep. Can I just say, I made this comment after seeing that. To anybody else, I mean, obviously this should have applied retroactively. Spoiler alert.
40 minutes in, 45 minutes in.
We see the Death Star.
Yeah.
But it looked virtually complete.
Yeah, it did. Way more complete than
Death Star 2 that we see at the beginning of episode 5, right? Or 6, rather.
Yeah.
How is it this complete? And then what? It takes 4 or 5 years before they test fire in Rogue One?
Yeah. It looked as though they only needed to put in kind of that nose cone.
Just that dish, right?
Yeah.
Just the final dish, and they were ready to go.
Yeah.
Unless, I mean, that was just the outer shell,
other
and
side.
They've got like interior and...
Oh, they didn't do the fit out. They didn't do the fit out.
It's all empty right now.
Supply chain problems on the furniture.
Yeah. We're still waiting on
wiring.
70 trillion miles of wire.
Well, the municipality's got to come, and we got Tesla smoke detectors.
OSHA's got to get in here and inspect.
Yeah.
That takes a year.
Code. First of all, I thought that scene was so cool. That's like the 15-second stuff that for me is just priceless about this show. It's literally nuts and bolts. And I thought that there was no one else who would I recognize that part. That part that they were making. It's not for an at.
And then the slow zoom out.
Yes.
Because remember when we first saw them manufacture the parts, my first reaction was, oh, this is the factory where they produce the K2 droids.
Mm.
And I thought, oh, yeah, maybe. I saw it. I thought that was going to be. This reveal was way better with the slow zoom out. Oh, totally. I'm 100% with you. I only wish it was slightly less complete looking.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
Still,
it should have been like the Death Star in. Is it Return of the? Yeah. Right
where it's like half constructed.
Yeah. I agree. It should have been, that would have been actually, because we already know what it's going to look like in terms of the shape. Yeah. So it would have been cool if you just would have seen kind of like the core being developed.
Core and like maybe scaffolding to represent the shell.
Yes.
That would have been fantastic.
Yes. Even if they just would have kind of shown, that would have been like, just like a scaffolding kind of in a crescent shape or something. And then they would have zoomed out on the dish. That would have been enough for me to be like, oh, that's the Death Star. That's
this
how
was a little on the nose.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just a little bit of, oh, is that what I think it is? Yeah. That would have, I think, made it perfect. Yeah. But look, I'm not going to complain. I loved seeing it. I thought that was a great
The granularity was, and that's what this show, for me, that's what this show is about. It's about the granularity that we've already been introduced to all of the Star Wars lore. It's for the people that are so fascinated. And you're like, how did they actually make the machines? How do they fabricate this stuff? Is there a welder? how do they actually assemble stuff? And now you see like all these little like tarantula like droids that do the assembly. Like, oh, that's so cool. You see a prison where it's actually prisoners, who's screwing things together. Like, oh, that's amazing. The granularity. And they're making the most
mundane of parts, yes. Right? They're literally just making a joining section.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. But they need like a billion of them, right?
Yeah, it's fantastic. I thought that was so good. I really thought that was so good.
For me, that is the essence of what I want to get out of this show, is that level of granularity. Cassian is an important figure. Mothma is an important figure, but I don't need to see Mothma's journey as much as I like these little things.
What's interesting is I think you're absolutely right. I think that's what separates the people who really love the show versus the people who just kind of like it or who are ignoring the show.
If you are interested in learning
if you are interested in learning more about the physical nuts and bolts, the literal nuts and bolts of the Star Wars universe, this show is for you.
Can I throw out something I just thought of, which is wild?
Yeah.
Mothma's daughter is not really so friendly with her, it seems. Mm-hmm. And Mothma's daughter is also, it seems to be much more conservative. Do you think this is going to be a case where the daughter turns in the mom?
Yeah, it's in play, right? I can 100% see it. In fact, now I can see. Remember, our theory was potentially that the father was also working for the rebels, unbeknownst to Mothma, in his own way, and that they learn to get, like, in some random way, they learn it. That they're working together and that makes their marriage stronger. I think we're now beyond that point.
Even better. Third data point. The dude whose son her daughter married, I can't remember what that guy's name is. That seems exactly like the guy who would go to the Empire and say, hey, by the way, hold me harmless, maybe give me a reward, put me in your good graces. I've got someone to hand over to you. I know for a fact she's doing some dodgy stuff with her finances.
Yeah. Give me, my wife, and my father immunity and maybe 1 million credits.
Yeah.
And
that seems exactly his style, right?
Yeah. 100%. Can't be trusted, that sort of thing. Yeah. Absolutely. I think they're no longer on a path of reconciliation.
I think there's a moral question in here, and it can't be answered because we don't know the situation. But for me, Mothma is sacrificing what could be kind of a perfect life. She seems to be very wealthy, well-respected, senator, I don't really see anything wrong with her husband, right? He does not seem to be a philanderer, a partier, a terrible guy. She's got a beautiful daughter. Like, she should have kind of the perfect life. There's something admirable about saying, I'm giving up my perfect comfort zone for a cause that I believe in. But she's also created this problem with her stupid banking maneuvers, right? Whether it was ignorant or careless or bad judgment. She's created a potential enemy in her husband. She's a poor relationship with her daughter. Maybe it's improved if the daughter is happy with this new dude. She's now disclosed her dirty laundry to 2 people, one of whom is kind of a gangster she probably cannot trust. The other she thinks is a close friend, but man, that close friend will turn on her in a minute if the Empire leans on him, right?
The banker, I can totally see that happening too, by the way.
Like she's, for someone who's supposed to be the leader, unlike, Luthen, she's really put herself in a very, very sacrificial position for not a lot of gain. Luthen can say, hey, at least I did this thing. I stole the credits. I got, Cassian, I've put a good team around me. Like, he's at least made some progress. Has Mothma made any progress?
I think this is where we see Jimmy Smits come in. I think Jimmy Smits comes in.
Save the day.
Senator Organa comes in, saves her hide.
Yeah.
And then they also, I think it's because he knows or he figures out that she's also a part of the rebels and he wants in. That's probably where that relationship comes into play.
Yeah. Jimmy Smits is on the way. Season 2, I think it's likely.
It's a wasted opportunity if they don't.
Oh, yes. But that means Leia. We're going to be introduced to an adolescent Leia.
Which again, by the way...
Something you said you did not want to see.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to see it because I don't want her to be overexposed. Again, if you do it in a wink and smile way, like, oh, and meet my daughter, she's also the youngest senator we've ever had, and then we just see her leave the office, that's one thing. I don't mind seeing that because that's a nice cameo kind of thing. I don't want her then to spend the next 12 episodes being an integral part of the show. That's not what I'm tuning in to see Andor for.
I agree, but that's not the Disney style. The Disney style The Disney style isn't, hey, who's that person walking out the door? Oh, that's just my daughter Leia. The Disney style is, sure, I'll help you, Senator Mothma, but you're going to have to mentor my daughter, and she's going to be attached to your side night and day and appear in every episode.
Or we're going to learn that, Leia and Mothma's daughter are friends from school or something when they went to school together on Coruscant or
that's actually not bad. I'm okay if there's some crossover. That makes it more believable, but I just don't want it to be Leia's in every episode, and I don't want to see her because I don't want a third person to be Leia.
Exactly. Look, again,
I'd argue
a small cameo is fine. A small kind of thing. Or we don't see Leia in, maybe even go even further with that. Jimmy Smits is like, don't worry, I've got my own agent involved in this subterfuge. And then in the episode 12, in the last episode, we see her board the ship that goes towards Rogue One.
Right. That's
scene in thing where we see, and not even her face, just the back of her head
just the
with the buns. And she's on the hologram with her dad. She's like, hi, Dad, I'm on the ship. I'm going there to do what I need to do. And I will lose my mind. That's the kind of cameo that would make me lose my absolute marbles on that. I don't need to then have the camera zoom in on her face and go, I'm Leia, wink. That's unnecessary.
Here's my ID. Yeah.
I'm not interested in that. Let's be a little more subtle with our cameos. I think that would be great.
I have to say, because I already feel like I've seen 3 Leias. I've seen the original Princess Leia, right? Yep. The bikini Leia or the white robe Leia. Then I've seen middle-aged Princess Leia, before her passing. And then we saw Leia now as a very young adolescent,
As a kid, yeah.
So for me, I've got 3 faces of Leia in my head. I can kind of make peace with the second or the third and the first. It would be very hard to add a fourth.
An adolescent Leia, I don't need to see it.
The youngest one I can make peace with because it was just a kid. It didn't really change anything. And I kind of liked her. The last one, the aged Leia, okay, I'm going to accept it. It's the same person, but I didn't really need to see her that much older. But if there's a new one where she's in her 20s, I'd rather not.
I mean, theoretically, she's going to be the same age at the end of the season as we see her.
Well, that's even worse. But that's even worse then, right?
Exactly. Which is why I don't want to... If we see her, let's just do the same thing they did in Rogue One, which is a CGI deepfake. And she doesn't speak. She doesn't say anything. We just see the back of her head. And that's as she's boarding the ship that we know is going to be a part of Rogue One. And that's it. That's all we need.
Yeah.
That's all we need.
Do we know the name of that ship?
I do not. I don't remember if
that's good trivia, huh?
That's probably great trivia.
All right, so that is season finale, season 1 of Andor. We loved it. I think we were both a little bit lukewarm probably going into this. You were maybe a little bit warmer than I was. I was very...
What's interesting is we went into waves, right?
Yeah.
When you saw the trailer...
Yeah, the trailer, I was like, all in.
And I was, I'm not sure about this.
Yeah.
Then we saw it, and I was a little warmer than you were. And now I think it's safe for me to say, and I'm pretty sure if you didn't understand it, let me spell it out very clearly to our listeners.
This
is a must subscribe.
Yeah.
100%. This is one of the rare must subscribes on the Disney Plus platform, and certainly for Star Wars.
Yeah.
This was everything that I wanted and more.
Absolutely true. Can't wait for season 2. What else to say?
Can't wait for season 2. Tune in for next week. Next week, we're going to talk some more Streamer Skip, and we will then do a deep dive.
Oh, we need a deep dive.
The season finale of The Peripheral.
Oh,
so join us for the watch party on Friday, and then otherwise tune in next week to hear us talk about.
I have to say, I also am putting out the bat signal for a recommendation. We have gone through, we saw Rings of Power, we did deep dives every week. House of the Dragon, justifiably deep dives every week. Andor, The Peripheral. What's the next show? I mean, we watch a lot of stuff on Streamer Skip, but what's our next show that we really need to do weekly deep dives on? That's an open question, I think, right?
And perhaps one our listeners can help answer.
Please do.
Leave a comment on the bottom of this video. Like, subscribe, hit that bell. Email us, aloha@filmsandstuffpodcast.com. Tweet at us at FNS Podcast. Drop us a DM on Instagram at Films and Stuff Podcast. Reach out to us.
We shall be here. Pete, as always, our 1-year anniversary. It's been a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you so much, Ethan. It's been great.
It's been great. Thanks, everyone, for joining. We'll catch you next week.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Films and Stuff. If you haven't already, please subscribe and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever podcasts are downloaded. Films and Stuff. There is no substitute.